Alright guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name is Andy. I'm the teaching assistant for the software development course, and we'll be taking a look at how to configure the environment on macOS for the backend development. I'll be posting another video on the front-end development environment, but this one will focus on the backend. Now for Windows users, the tutorial for this is on Brightspace. This is just a video for Mac users who had some trouble. So the first thing we'll do is we'll open up the terminal. You guys can use the default terminal, or you can use the one that I use. I use one called iTerm2. I'll leave the link in the description. So we're going to start by opening up our browser to the first link, brew.sh. Alright, so basically Homebrew is an open source package manager for macOS and Linux, and it just makes it easier to install packages and that kind of thing. You can read more about it here. What we'll do is we'll copy this instruction and we'll paste it into our terminal. Now it's going to ask for the password. You won't see it, but when you type it in and hit enter, it'll install these different things. I'm going to abort the installation since I already have it installed, and I'll just check the version number. You guys should have Homebrew 3.0.0 at the time of this video. So what we'll do now is we're going to install Git with Brew. I already have it installed, so I'll just check that my version is correct. And once again, at the time of this video, you guys should have Git version 2.30.0. So now that we have Git, we're going to modify some configuration variables. So we'll say git config -- global, and I'll first change the username, and then we can copy this and we'll be able to change the email. Alright, that's basically it. If you guys want to see the configuration file in the future, you would just say global -- edit, and you'll see the information here. And let's go ahead and exit out of that. So I'll reset my terminal, and now we're going to install the JDK. Now again, all of these links are in the description, so make sure you use those links because for example, the JDK in this case has to be JDK 8. The Payara application server that we'll be using, it doesn't work with JDK 15, so we'll be using JDK 8. You're going to go overhead to the macOS 64-bit installation DMG file. Now, when you hit this button, it might ask you to create an Oracle account, but I'm already authenticated, so I can just download this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click this JDK, and we'll open up the package, and it's just going to install the Java Development Kit 8 on the computer. Type in your password, and it's going to verify the installation, write the files, and then we'll eliminate this installation file from our computer. Okay, so to verify that it's there, we'll do cd/library/java, then we'll enter Java virtual machines, and here we'll see the JDK 1.8. Alright, basically the JDK is what we need to just run our Java programs and execute Java programs. Alright, so let's go back to our root desktop, our root directory, and we'll install something called Apache Maven. Now, Apache Maven, long story short, it's a tool to build Java projects. So we'll go ahead and install the binary zip archive here. Now, I already have it on my machine, so I'll just double click this, and we'll drag this to our root directory. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and continue and install Derbydb. Now Derbydb is basically just a database for Java applications, and we're going to be embedding it into our project so that we can manage our transactions and stuff. So let's download this tarball right here, tar.gz, and once again I already have it installed, so I'll just unzip it and drag it to the root directory. Alright, and finally we'll have Payara Server. Now this is basically just an application server similar to JBoss, and we're going to use it to host our application. We'll be downloading the Payara Community Edition, Payara 5 the full version. So you want to hit download, and once you download it, you'll just unzip it, and once again drag it to your root directory. Not here. Yeah, sorry guys. Give me one moment here. Alright, so I'll drag this into the root directory. So now we should have in the root directory Apache Maven, Derbydb, and Payara 5. Alright, so the next thing is we're going to install Apache Netbeans. Now, this is a popular IDE. It's commonly used for Java web, desktop, and mobile applications, and it's what we'll be using in this course. So we're going to click this download button, the Apache Netbeans 12 long-term support release, and once you have it there, we're just going to open it up. So Apache Netbeans 12. And while that's opening, this repository over here. And again, this is going to be in the description. This is just an example project that we'll use to make sure that our installation worked perfectly fine. All right. So we are waiting for Netbeans to open. Let me clear my terminal. Alright guys, now if you're curious about my terminal, I'll release another video on it later. Basically I use iterm2 with the Z shell, and I use my Z shell as the manager, and I'll post another video about that later. Alright, so here we have Apache Netbeans. Now what you guys might want is to change the appearance. So the first thing I did was I went to appearance and look and feel, and you can make it dark nimbus if you want it to look like mine. Alright, so what we're going to do now is in Netbeans, we'll hit Java, we'll hit Java Shell, and we're going to go ahead and hit Manage. Now, you might not have this by default, so I'm going to remove it and show you guys how to add it. We'll hit Add Platform, we'll select Next on Java Standard Edition, then let's just start from the root directory. We'll open Library, then we'll find Java, and in Java, we'll hit Java Virtual Machines, the JDK 1.8, we'll double-click Contents, and when we select Home, we'll hit Next, and this is going to detect the JDK, it'll put the name here, and then we'll finish. So now that we have that, we'll select the Java platform as JDK 1.8, and in Maven, we're going to set the Maven home to the file, the directory here where Maven is installed. So we'll hit Open there, and we'll make sure we select JDK 1.8, and then we'll select this option, which is skip tests for any build executions not directly related to testing. Now that this is done, we'll hit OK, and then we'll open the project that we previously cloned from the repository. Alright, so you can actually do it here, guys, or you can also go to Team, Get Clone, and you can clone it here. Alright, now let's say I want to clone this into Netbeans Project, so we can hit Next. It's going to connect to the Git repository. And you can do it this way, which I find easy, or you can also just do it on your computer and then open up the project this way. So I'll hit Next here, and I'll hit Finish. Alright, so it's cloning. Let me maximize this window. Yeah, so while we wait for it to clone, we can take a look at these different tabs. This is where the projects will be. This is where we'll have the file structure. And these are services, where we'll be directly involved with both of these, servers and databases. Alright, so looks like the project is still cloning. Let's give it a minute for it to complete. Then here we'll say Open Project, and we're going to drop this little arrow here. You're going to select this one, and then hit Command, and then select both of these. Then once we hit Open, it'll start opening these projects. Alright, here we can see the progress on these. Sometimes it takes a little bit if you're cloning it from GitHub. It might be faster sometimes if you're opening it directly from your computer, but it looks like this is almost done. Alright, so it's going to have the base folder, well, the base project, which is back step by step. And then here we'll have modules. Well, we have the back step-by-step back, which we double click on this. Wait, let me close these files. Yeah, if we double click on this, it should open this project. And then if we double click on this one, it'll open these projects down here. All right, guys. So now that this is ready, we're going to configure, we'll add actually Payara Server to Netbeans. Now, the way we do that is by going to Services. We'll hit Servers, we'll right click and add server. We'll hit Payara Server, we'll hit Next. Let me just name this Payara Server. Oh, so I actually already have one. Let me just go ahead and delete this so that we can do it from scratch. Alright, so I'll add a server, Payara Server, and here you're going to select the installation folder for Payara. I'll hit choose, and then I'll accept the license agreement and hit next. This will remain the same. We'll hit finish. And now we have the Payara server here. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our Finder, going into a root directory. I want you guys to open Derby. We're going to open lib, and you're going to select derby.jar and derby client.jar. We're going to copy this, and we're going to paste it into the Payara Glassfish library folder. So we have Glassfish, lib, and we'll be pasting them here. Alright, now that that's done, we're going to go ahead now and take a look at Payara here. So we already have the Payara server. Now we're going to add the databases. Okay, so to configure the database, we're going to go here to JavaDB. We're going to hit Properties, and here you're going to hit Browse and select the DB Derby installation. And we're going to create a folder here called Data, and that's where our databases will be stored. So now this is Data. Just make sure that that's the correct one, and we'll hit OK. Alright, so now that we have this here, what we're going to do is go to Projects. We're going to back step-by-step back. Let's go now to, actually this should be front step-by-step. We're going to go to the files, actually, it's actually done here. We'll go to Source, Main, Resources, Meta, Inf, and then if you double click this persistence, XML, it's going to show you the name of the database. So in this case, it's Bookstore. For your different projects, it might be a little different. So we're going to make sure that we remember the name of this database. So now we'll go to Services, right click here on JavaDB. And once we right click on JavaDB, we'll hit Create Database. Alright, and then this is going to be the name Bookstore, the name of the database we saw earlier. Now we'll hit OK. And if we come here to see the output, once I connect to this database, well, I should have seen an output here. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Payara server. We're going to hit refresh and start. Now we're going to use JDK 1.8 just like we did for everything else. So let's hit OK. This is going to start thinking. And then once it's ready, it's going to have a little play symbol. So here's the console output for the Payara server. It might take a little while, so let's just give it a minute. Now the Payara server is going to allow us to host the application. So once it's ready, then we'll be able to go over here. We'll hit localhost 4848. Okay, it's not ready yet. Yeah, so it goes through some configuration steps here. And then once it's ready, we'll be able to access the administrator's console. Alright, is this ready yet? Alright, well, the console is starting, so let's just give it a minute for it to begin. Yeah, the first time, it takes a little while. Alright, so now that it's hit play, initializing session attributes, we can go ahead now and it's going to let us log into the admin console for Payara. Alright, so now that we're in the Payara console, what we're going to do is hit JDBC. We're also going to hit JDBC connection pools, and we're going to hit new. Alright, now this one we're going to name Derby pool. The resource type is data source, this one right here, XA data source, and the database driver vendor is Derby. So now we'll hit next, we'll scroll down here, and we're going to add some properties. We're going to add the server name, which will be localhost. We'll also add another property, which is the port number, and that's 1527. And then we'll have the database name, which we already know was bookstore. Alright, so we'll hit finish. And once we do that, then we can hit Derby pool. And then we'll hit ping here. Now, it should say ping succeeded. If it doesn't, then you should go back and double check that everything is installed correctly. Alright, so what we're going to do now is go back to Netbeans. I'm not sure what happens there. Let's go ahead, guys, to the projects. We're going to go ahead now here, and we'll do clean and build. And let's just wait to see the output of the project. Right, so it's compiling everything with the Maven compiler plugin. All right, now we have that. We're gonna go to front step-by-step API. We'll hit properties, and here when we hit run, we'll make sure that this is also JEE8, and we'll hit OK. And we can also set the default browser to Firefox. I'll hit OK. Now notice, guys, how there's some error here. Basically, this is a bug that Payara has on Mac where it can't find these dependencies. Really what I do sometimes is I just go here to, let's say, files. I'll open this, source, main, Java, and I'll go all the way down. And let's say, for example, for the first one, it's business logic exception mapper. I'll go over here to the mapper, and I cut everything. I save, I paste, and then I save it again. It's going to scan the project, and then here, this dependency will be eliminated. Now, you would end up just doing these for all of them, but this is for the purposes of time, I won't be doing it. This is just to show you how to resolve this issue. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit right click here, and we're going to hit run. Now when we run, it's going to scan the project, and it's going to deploy the application. Now since this is just an example, in our browser we'll just see a little message, and then that'll let us know that the backend environment is set up correctly. Alright guys, well, I've waited for all of this to finish executing properly. So now that we know that this is successfully deployed, we can check here Firefox, and we'll see in port 8080 front step-by-step API, and we see this message. Alright guys, so just in general, this quick summary of what we did. We downloaded Homebrew, the JDK8, Apache Maven, Derbydb, Payara Server, and Apache Netbeans, and then we configured the Payara Server onto Netbeans, and then we installed and created a new database in our NetBeans system. And then once we did this, remember that we we moved two files from the Derbydb library, which was the derby.jar and derbyclient.jar. We moved them and we'll copy them into the Payara Glassfish library, and then we eliminated some of these dependencies. Now, remember, I didn't do all of them, but once again, if I were to go to the editorial DTO and cut it, save it, paste it, and then save it again, we'd see that dependency gets eliminated. So it happens sometimes with your project, so just keep that in mind. Alright guys, so that's everything you need to know to configure the backend environment for this course on your macOS. Now, I'll be posting another video, which is it's going to be a lot shorter, which is how to configure the environment for the front-end development of the course. So I hope this video was useful to you guys, and that'll be it.